All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. This is NFL Player Props Live. Week 15 of the NFL season is officially here. And with that being the case, we got a little live stream to go ahead and break down some really good, solid player props for this Sunday NFL slate. Like I said, guys, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and drop a comment down below. Like I always say, it helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. As I typically do here in these live streams, I'm going to take about 5 minutes, let people join the stream. I'm going to get set up, finish getting everything configured, and then in about 5 minutes time, we'll dive right in. Now, like kind of similar to the last live stream, I don't have any player props pre-prepared. Shoot me down if you'd like to, but I'm telling you guys, we have a good time when we all come together as a community and find these plays together. So, yes, I don't have any player props pre-prepared necessarily, but we're going to find a healthy amount of winners in today's live stream. My plan here is to basically go live at least an hour, maybe an hour 15, something in that ballpark. And like I said, we'll discuss player props. We'll finish off the live stream with a little touchdown parlay, community parlay. And it'll be a good time. We'll talk anything. Any comments right off the bat, go ahead and send them our way. Any early questions regarding NFL or college football or anything you guys want to go ahead and shout out, go ahead and shoot your questions. Like I said, about 5 minutes here, we'll get going and dive into the picks here. What's going on, Tim? Gonna have a great day. So, listen, the live stream couldn't have happened at a better time. I'm avoiding the snow here in New England. It is snowing, and I am not looking forward to shoveling. So I am very much happy that we have this live stream going here on this beautiful snowy winter Sunday morning. Like I said, guys, 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and dive in. Just going to go ahead and get set up here. Make sure the thumbnail, everything for the YouTube is all good to go. How you guys doing this morning? Anybody doing anything fun today? Celebrating, well, we're still a little early for Christmas, but doing, like I have for my restaurant, we're doing our Christmas party today. So, we got stuff going on there. But I'm sure it's that time of the year, Christmas parties, all that kind of stuff's happening right now. All right. Let's get set up here. Like I said, 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and dive into our player props for week 15. Like I said, just getting set up here. On the YouTube side of things, making sure we are good to go. All right, it's easy if I just do it this way, I think. Snowing in New England. What do you think about Bills-Pats game? I think New England's going to have a good day. I think Patriots are winning that game. Now, I have to go ahead and say, I'm biased. I'm very biased. I'm a Patriots fan, so I think they're going to win. I know the number one thing I keep hearing from everybody is the Patriots won the first time. They're not going to go 2-0 against Buffalo. I understand that sentiment, but this type of weather favors the Patriots due to the fact that I think that New England can run the football against this Bills defense. This Bills run defense has not been all that great. I think that New England's gonna have a good day. I think New England can stop the run, and the Bills' pass offense already has a hard enough time throwing the football as it is. You add the snow element to this thing, I don't think it's gonna go very well for Buffalo, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be wrong again. I'm very biased, but I'm liking New England a lot in today's game. Great day. Let's get a win. Yes, sir. Hey, listen. New week, new opportunity. Go ahead and make some money. If you guys don't know, I know the live streams, we've been a little inconsistent with them this year. It's like 1 week we do them, the next week we don't. I apologize for that. Sundays are tough for me. My one day where the shop is closed, the pizza shop is closed. So we have a lot of stuff going on. All my activities, my events, my things, I plan them on Sundays. So unfortunately, we miss them sometimes, okay? But we are 37-22 this year when we do the live streams on our player props. So we have actually been very successful. So if you aren't watching, tell your friends, tell your wife, your girlfriend, your significant other, whatever you got, tell them to tune in because we've been handing out winners all year long when we do the live stream. So I am very excited to go ahead and dive into the picks in just a couple seconds here. Great day to make some money. Absolutely. Great day to make some money. It's a great day. This is a really good, it might be the best slate we've had so far this year. I'm not just saying that to say that. This could very well be the best slate we've had this year. You've got so many good matchups. You've got, obviously, and now that we're in the later part of the year, the final 4 weeks of the regular season, you've got a lot of playoff positioning stuff going on here. Like the Chiefs, their season on the line today. So much great stuff going on. So it's a great slate. It's a great day to go ahead and talk football. Which, by the way, speaking on that, if you guys haven't watched, I do a weekly NFL pick show, The Oracle. If you haven't, check that out after we do the live stream. I did a bunch of plays. I have 12 bets. Those are more like spreads, money lines, totals, not really player props. But I have 12 picks there. I did a bunch of parlays. I think I did like 5 teasers, a couple of parlays, a bunch of picks. It's like 40 minutes long, but don't worry. All the plays are in the pinned comment on that video. So if you guys don't want to watch the whole 40-minute video, you can jump to the pinned comment or go on the website, GuyBostonSports.com. I have a ton of picks posted there. So tons of NFL content. And obviously, make sure to check out my partners, Ev and Trey, who also obviously are doing stuff this week. They have their own NFL pick shows and stuff like that. Let's see. Anything else to plug before we go ahead and dive into the picks? Oh, my Sunday Night Football picks video will be coming out after this live stream. So at 12 p.m. Eastern time, after we get off the live stream, maybe 11:30, depending on how early we get off here, we will do our Sunday Night Football picks video. Will go live. So for the Vikings-Cowboys game tonight. So make sure to tune in for those. Subscribe. Get all those videos. Check out. Support your boy. It really does mean a lot. Let's see. A couple of chats. See, the chats are being very active. We love to see that right off the bat. Very early. Chat's active. Do you think Snow will stop May getting 250? It might hinder it a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like his passing yards prop could affect it a little bit. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I know on HTH this week I did give his passing prop as one of my plays, which obviously the snow affects that a little bit. Love that. Love that. I'm not going to repeat it, but I love it. Judge put that cap on in December, especially in snow. Coach is locked in. Love it. I love the chat. I like to see that we got a lot of people in New England here. A lot of people. I'm in Nose Island, ready for the snow game in Foxborough. Love that. Rhode Island. Yep. I'm in Connecticut, so New England area. Spurs gang. Yeah, that was crazy last night. I did not think the Thunder were going to lose in the NBA Cup. And San Antonio, man, Wembanyama came back. And my boy, UConn boy, Stephon Castle. Great game. Great game. Great game all around. I did lose my parlay yesterday, though, because SGA got me on the freaking hook. Last weekend was a good slate too. Yeah, last weekend wasn't bad. Last weekend was a good slate, but this week in particular, like you go through the matchups, like obviously one game, it's not really a good game, but it's good in the sense that like I'm interested to see what happens is that Seahawks-Colts game with Phillip Rivers making his first start at age 44 and after 5 years of not playing. Like you got Packers-Broncos, Rams-Lions, Pats-Bills, you know, even Vikings-Cowboys is a good game. Chiefs-Chargers, like it's a great slate. A lot of good position bet. I mean, Bears, Browns, that's not a great game, but that's a huge game for, you know, playoff positioning. Saints, Panthers ends up being a big game. Carolina wins. They have sole custody of the NFC South. So many great things. I'm not in New England, from Detroit. Well, yeah, you guys get a lot of snow too, so I get it. I get it. No snow down here in Florida. You know what? Yeah. But you know what, though? I say this all the time. I would rather live in New England because I can't deal with those hot. You guys get the hottest summers. Like the humidity down there, the heat down there in the summertime. I'll take my nice, you know, warm but not too hot New England summer over those horrible Florida summers where I don't like heat. I'm not a heat guy, okay? I'm a little bit of a bigger guy, former offensive lineman, okay? Got a little extra weight on the body. All right, the heat does not really go over for me very well. So prefer the cold. I think Colts can cover. I don't know about that one. But anyways, that's tough. All right. We're now 8 minutes into the live stream. I told you guys after 5 minutes we dive in. We are now 8 minutes in. I haven't talked about a single player prop. So let's go ahead and get after it there. I didn't see the rest of the car. He's just going to have a sore ass tomorrow. He's sore as shit. Yeah, I mean, look, he's pause. Pause. He's going to be sore. I mean, that Seahawks defense is going to get after him all day long. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, guys, normally speaking, I would have player props prep for you guys. I didn't do that last time we did the live stream. I didn't do it, and it honestly worked out fine. So we're not going to do it again this time. We're just going to go through it. So this is your time to shine. Go ahead, throw it down there. You got to own a pool down there. Yeah, exactly. If you're in Florida, you don't own a pool, you're failing. You're absolutely failing. New England weather, the best weather. Lately it's been because the winters have not been as bad. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into player props here. So what I'm going to do is you guys start setting your things. Start setting props you like, matchups you like. I have some games I want to look at here, some positional battles that are going to be interesting to look at from a player prop perspective. But this is your time to shine. So guys, starting now, go ahead, throw your favorite plays in the live stream, and we're going to go through them. We're going to analyze them, decide if we want to put them on our play sheet or not. This is your time to be the star. So go ahead, throw your comments, throw your picks, everything in the chat right now. And we're going to go ahead and break them all down for everyone to see. So don't be offended if I shoot it down. That's just the nature of the business. So go ahead, flood the chat here. We'll go ahead and share the outlier screen so we can go ahead and dive into our plays. Let's go ahead and get our screen shared here. All right. There we go. We're now sharing our screen. We got the outlier screen up. I don't have all my normal filters in here just yet. I'm kind of, like I said, leaving the floor open for you guys. Okay. Josh Allen rushing touchdown. It's the first one I saw. Let's go ahead and break it down. And like I said, I'm going to try to get to as many picks as I can, guys. You guys throw your picks out. I'm going to try and get to as many as I possibly can. All right, let's see. That's interception, which also probably not a bad play. Josh Allen rushing touchdown. All right. So best odds available plus 105 over on Novig. All right, he's cashed it 6 of his last 10 games, including 2 straight. So far this year, a 54% hit rate on this touchdown prop. He's averaging just shy of a touchdown per game. Not bad data. You do see a healthy amount of multi-touchdown games as well. I will say this right off the bat. He has failed to cash this in 3 straight against the Patriots. Granted, this game on January 5th, he didn't really play all that much. I don't even think he played. I know it says he started. I don't even think he threw the ball. How many targets did he have in those games? Yeah, I don't even think he really played. He's listed that he played. I don't even think he really played in that game. That was the Joe Milton game that cost us Abdul Carter. But honestly, looking at how things turned out, I'm happy we got Will Campbell personally. But earlier this year, no touchdown. The one game they played last year where he did play the full game, no touchdown. New England this year, 8th best defense, only giving up 2.2 touchdowns per game versus quarterbacks, 3rd best defense in terms of touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks on the ground. Justin Fields did have one back on November 13th, but from November 2nd and on, and they've had some running, not Joe Flacco, but, Jackson Dart, Baker can run, Michael Penix a little kind of athletic. I guess you could say I wouldn't necessarily say he's a running quarterback first. But they have played running quarterbacks. Not a lot of these guys are scoring touchdowns in New England. Now, obviously, the weather, okay, snow game, those things will definitely affect this, and I understand the thought process here. But as you can see, the insights provided by Outlier, Josh Allen has failed to exceed a touchdown in 6 of his last 7 games versus top 10 defenses for touchdowns allowed. I don't see him scoring a touchdown in this spot, personally. I'm not trying to hate on the pick. I'm just saying him to score a touchdown, especially against this Patriots, which, by the way, one of the best run defenses in the NFL, it's not worth it from a value standpoint. For just plus 105, if this is plus 200 or plus 175, I might be inclined to put like half a unit on it. But for plus 105, considering the numbers we have, I don't think it's necessarily worth it. So we're going to go ahead and move on past that one. Again, no wrong picks. Don't be afraid to throw picks. I might shoot you down, but don't worry. Keep sending your picks. Don't worry about it. We'll get them next time. All right. Caleb Williams over in rushing yards. I'm going to say no to that right off the bat. That Browns run defense is elite. I'm going to go ahead and not even look at the numbers. That's a no for me. George Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. That one we can go ahead and take a look at. Here. So let's go ahead and get rid of Josh Allen here. Which, by the way, congrats to Josh Allen. Him and Haley Steinfeld having a baby. I just saw on Instagram the other day. Congratulations to the Allens. Although I don't think Haley Steinfeld changed her name, so I think it's still just Haley Steinfeld. Let's see. That guy, Josh Allen, he watched Sinners and was like, I got to make sure I lock this up. He watched Sinners and he saw the whole Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld connection. He was like, I got to lock this up before it's too late. Which credit to him. Over 61.5 receiving yards. Plus 101 best odds available over on Novig. So pretty good value here. From an overall perspective, it's okay. 50-50 so far this year, averaging just shy of 50 receiving yards per game this season. So not bad. But obviously, if you're really looking at this, he's only played 8 games this year. Obviously, as it's been the case the last couple of years, unfortunately for Kittle, injuries have kind of derailed him a bit. But if we narrow this down the last 5 games, he's now cashed this in 4 consecutive games. He's averaging 65.6 receiving yards per game over the last 5. Let's go ahead and look down below at the volume of work he's getting. So targets, he's averaging just shy of about 7 targets per game on average. The good thing with him, though, is that his catch rate, very, very high. 85% catch percentage on these targets. So when they do throw the ball his way, He's catching. Look at the Rams game. 9 catches on 9 targets. So really good numbers there. He's averaging about 11.7 yards per reception. The target share number is pretty good, about a 22% target share. If you look down below on the season, again, remember, he missed games, so that's obviously going to affect the targets. He's third in targets on this team, but like I said, he did miss at least, I think, 4 or 5 games for the 49ers so far this year. So keep that into consideration. But obviously, McCaffrey and Jauan Jennings a little high up there in terms of targets. Let's look at the matchup here. Now, Tennessee, I can already tell you, not a very good team defensively. Overall, 24th this season, averaging just shy of 246 receiving yards given up per game defensively. We look versus tight ends. Okay, not bad. 16th. They're giving up 51.9 receiving yards per game on average to the tight end position. So it's a neutral matchup. They're middle of the road. Not bad, not great. Let's see. Insight provided by Outlier. George Kittle has exceeded 61.5 receiving yards in 7 of his last 9 games at home. So pretty good numbers at home for George Kittle. Okay, he's averaging 85.6 receiving yards per game over his last 9 home games. That obviously dates back to last season. Okay, so you have a little bit of last year's data getting mixed in there with George Kittle. We already went over all the target stuff. Last few performances, we saw Harold Fannin for the Browns. He had 114 receiving yards just last week against the Titans defense. Brenton Strange had 45 on November 30th. Dalton Schultz had 51 back on November 16th. So we have seen just in the last month, a few tight ends have a moderate level of success against this Tennessee defense. The problem I have here is, I mean, it's not a bad matchup. This game could be a blowout. The Niners, I believe, are like 12.5-point favorites. Now, granted, to get to a blowout, you have to score points. You got to move the ball. You got to do something first. My concern would be the Niners go up very big, and then how much is Brock Purdy really throwing the football in this game? How often are they throwing in a game where they can have success running the football on this Titans defense as well? Although, I will say from a numbers perspective, the Titans have been better against the run than the pass. I'm going to go over the dashboard real quick. I want to see what the last 3 games, kind of a more narrow view of the data here. Last 3 for the Titans defense. Their run defense, 5th best run defense in terms of yards allowed over the last 3. So the run defense has actually been pretty good, but the pass defense over the last 3 games, 29th, giving up 264 per game. So they're definitely the pass defense is the weakness here. It's a plus money play. Adjusting it, I don't know how much that'd be worth it. Let's see where we can get here. 2 yards less for -110. I like this one. I think it's a good matchup. The only concern I would have is just the fact that this game could get out of hand fast, and then how much are you throwing it to Kittle at that point. But I don't think it's a bad matchup. But Kittle has been, again, 4 straight games. He's cashed the over. He's getting just the last 4. Ignore the Giants game. Last 4 games, 9 targets, 6 targets, 10 targets, and then just 5 targets last week versus Cleveland. He's still, and only getting 5 targets, cashed the over in that one. So yeah, and again, it's all about value, guys. Sometimes these player props, it's all about the value. Plus 101 for him to get 62 yards, something that he's done in 4 straight games, I think is not a bad play. So we're going to go ahead. That's our first official play added to our play sheet here, over 61.5 receiving yards. I'm going to add that over. I have a document open. I'm going to write all these picks down. So if you guys are missing any of these plays, you join the live stream late, or you missed the live stream in general, all the final plays we posted after the live stream is ended. All that we posted down below in the comments. So don't worry if you miss anything, guys. All the plays are being saved. So our first official play in today's video, George Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. As we type this in here, over 61.5 receiving yards. All right, plus 101 over on Novig. And I'm going to put 3/4 of a unit, so 0.75 units on this one. Not a full unit. But it's a pretty good play, so we'll go ahead and rock with that. So let's go ahead and catch up with the comment section, which I apologize. I'm not a big, my girlfriend makes fun of me all the time. I'm not like the biggest multitasker. Like I can't, when I'm focused on something, I'm focused on something. Like it's really hard for me to look at the comments and break down the player props. So I kind of just shut the comment section out until I'm done with the player props. All right. Let's go back. We got a lot of, you guys have been, so shout out, by the way, Liz Manning, who shouted out Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. Shout out to Liz Manning. Great pick there. Like that a lot. Let's go ahead through the chat here and see what we got. Phillip Rivers for a tutty day. You think Phillip Rivers is getting a rushing touchdown today against the Seattle Seahawks? Phillip Rivers. 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, father of 14. I don't think it's actually 14. I think it's like 9. Philip Rivers, you think he's going to get a rushing touchdown today against the Seahawks? Listen, that's a choice. It's a choice. I'll say that. It's a choice. Let's see what else you guys got on here. A lot of picks. You guys are flooding the chat. Love that. Love to see the interaction from you guys. Love that. Rivers over 219. Is that over 219? I'm assuming. I would hope it's not rushing yards, passing yards. All right. You guys realize that the Seahawks have shut down good quarterbacks who are in form this year, right? And you expect this. Listen, I love Philip Rivers. Don't like him. Love him. It's a rough matchup for him, for sure. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdown. Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. We'll take a look at those. Let's see. Ricky Purcell, Chuba. We're gonna go through all these. I'm just trying to see any comments that I want to go ahead and. Yeah, the Josh Allen. No rushing touchdowns for Allen versus the Pats in 2 games last year or this year. Yeah, it's just not a good matchup spot from a numbers perspective. Allen for a tush push touchdown. I just don't see. I mean, maybe anything's possible, guys. But I just, from a numbers perspective, going off the numbers, I just don't see Josh Allen scoring a touchdown today. I don't. NFL cooked in the script is ass, but Tassos is boss. I appreciate that, Ronnie. Thank you. Appreciate that. They got Joe Biden's picture for Philip Rivers and Prize Picks. Look, I mean, I love Philip Rivers, and listen, I don't. The people that are commenting like, oh, like Cam Newton, for example, and I listen, Cam Newton, former New England Patriot. I've always been a fan of Cam. Sometimes we see this happen with guys when they go into the media, like Kendrick Perkins, for example. Huge Celtics fan. Love KP43. Always loved KP43. If he doesn't get hurt in that 2010 finals, I think the Celtics beat the Lakers. That's just me, personally. But these guys go into media, and it's not always their fault. Sometimes it's the media, the machine itself telling them what to say and like pushing them to make these hot takes. But like Cam Newton crapping on this, like why would the Colts call Cam Newton? Philip Rivers played for the Colts. It makes sense. Like, hey, we're desperate. All of our quarterbacks are hurt. We need somebody. Philip Rivers is the future Hall of Famer who played in this building, who wore these colors. The last team he played for before retiring was the Colts. We're going to sign you. Cam Newton didn't play for the Colts, and no offense to Cam, but the end of his career was not exactly great. Now, I'm not saying Philip Rivers was a superstar the last year or two, but I feel like Rivers is a bit of a safer bet. Cam Newton, a lot of the strength of his game came in the ability to run. And that's just not, he was never, no one looked at Cam Newton as like, you're one of the greatest passers to ever play the game. He's one of the best quarterbacks because if you take the rushing stats with the passing stats, he's incredible. Not saying Cam's a bad thrower of the football, but I would take Philip Rivers over Cam Newton any day. Especially if you take away Cam's athleticism, take away the ability to run. Cam Newton is not as special of a player if he can't run. And obviously that's what happened end of his career. He couldn't take those hits anymore. He couldn't run the way, he wasn't Superman anymore. And that's what happened. And so that's why I get the Philip Rivers thing. You're desperate. He could be a game manager. I get the thought process, but man, is it a tough matchup. Man, is it a tough matchup. This Seahawks defense is legit. And so that's tough. For not playing in 5 years, out of game shape, and the first game, you have 6 days to prep for maybe the best defense in the NFL. That's why I'm like a little hesitant on Philip Rivers today. I think it's going to be a rough day for him, but could be wrong. Could be wrong. All right, let's get back to the player props now. So let's go back. We have a lot of suggestions here. I'm gonna go ahead and take, what was the one I wanted to go to next? Let's see. We had a lot of props here. I'm thinking, let's see. We did Kittle, going down the list here. I have no data to go off of for Philip Rivers also, which makes it tough. Lamar Jackson. All right, that was one that I saw. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdown passes. All right. Lamar Jackson. Let's go here. Touchdown passes. Where are you? Touchdown passes. All right, here we go. So Lamar, over 1.5 touchdown passes. He's grabbing that for minus 126 on FanDuel. That's what we're looking at. Last 10 games, just 4 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. He's averaging 1.6 touchdown passes per game over the last 10. Overall this year, he's played 10 games this year, so 4 of 10. Had a very strong start, 2 touchdowns versus Buffalo, 4 versus Cleveland, 3 versus Detroit, 1 versus KC. Then he gets hurt in the Chiefs game, doesn't return until Miami, has 4 touchdown passes in his first game back, and then since then has only had 1 touchdown in 2 of those 5 games since, and has had 3 games against the Browns, Jets, and Bengals where he had 0 touchdown passes. Now, this is a line that he cleared at a 74% hit rate last year, 14 to 19 games. He averaged 2.37 touchdown passes per game last year. Head to head, he threw 4 touchdown passes in each of the previous 2 matches with the Bengals last year. But this year on Thanksgiving, he had a big fat 0. So it's tough. The numbers this year don't look good, but we do have this insight provided by Outlier. Lamar Jackson has exceeded 1.5 touchdown passes in 4 of his last 5 games versus bottom 10 defenses for touchdown passes allowed. He's averaging 3.4 touchdown passes per game, which obviously the Bengals from last year fit the data range. The one miss was that Thanksgiving game against the Bengals. And this year, the Bengals have the second worst defense in the NFL, 31st, giving up 2.2 touchdown passes per game. You scroll down below here, look at past quarterback performances. Josh Allen just threw 3 touchdowns last week. Now, before that, Rodgers had 1, Drake May had 1, Lamar had 0, so they actually were on a pretty good run. But before that, pretty bad numbers for the Bengals defense against these quarterbacks. So the hard part is Lamar, can he get out of this funk? Can he get out of this funk? Can he get back on form? I personally think this is a good play to tail. Maybe not a full unit play, but a good maybe like 3/4 unit, half unit play, because you're getting a very low line here at good value over 1.5 touchdown passes against a defense that all year long has been awful against the pass. 27. Well, that's the Ravens offense. Bengals defense. 31st pass defense. Now they're also 32nd against the run too, which isn't good, but I think this is a worthy play. I think it's a worthy play. I think the matchup is too good to go ahead and pass up on. And I think we're going to take it. I know the data hasn't been great. The last 5 games has not been good. Okay, 0-5. He has not cashed this in 5 straight games, including against the Bengals on Thanksgiving. But I do think that Lamar Jackson has such a good matchup here. The Ravens need this game. They need this game. This is their season. You lose this game, you drop to 6-8, and all of a sudden things get really, really tough. I think he's gonna have a big game. I think the Ravens are gonna have a big game. I think Lamar's gonna have a big game. He had 4 touchdowns in each of the last 2 before the Thanksgiving game. 4 touchdowns. I think he should have a big game here. So I'm gonna go with the over. 1.5 touchdown passes, which is minus 126. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. And then real quick, because it was part of the same message, the same chat, let's go ahead and plug this into our document here as I go ahead and plug this in. I'm looking at Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. So this was minus 126 on FanDuel. And again, we're going to put probably 3/4 of a unit on this play. Derrick Henry anytime touchdown, which kind of in the same ballpark, right? The deciding factor here is going to be the value at which we're getting this. If this is like minus 160 or higher, or minus 150 or higher, I'm not taking it. And exactly, yeah, minus 169. Now, if you're building a parlay and you want a leg to throw in your parlay, I fully endorse this. Okay, fully endorse this play. But if we're just looking for single bets, not good enough from a value standpoint. Minus 169. So we're gonna go ahead and take that away. But again, if you're looking for a parlay and you need something to throw in your lay, right here, this is a great one. Great alternate line to go ahead and throw in your lay. But again, too high from an odds standpoint to go ahead and plug that into our single bet category. All right, moving along here because we're almost half an hour in. We have like 2 player props. So let's go ahead. We'll get to the chat comments afterwards, but let's go ahead and get some more player props in here. Let's see. So that was the Ravens one. George Pickens, over 4.5 receptions. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. This is going to be like an hour and a half stream. I already accepted that. And I'm fine with it. It's cool. The longer I'm in here with you guys, the longer I have till I have to go shovel the driveway, which I'm not looking forward to. So we could stay here for 3 hours if you'd like to. So receptions, okay. Over 4.5 receptions, which I don't know when you got that, but it's minus 200, so not worth it. Data is obviously very good, but it's, again, if you're looking for a parlay line, like a parlay leg, not a bad option. Like over 4.5, it's minus 200 on DraftKings. He's cashed it 8 of his last 10, including 6 in a row. And so far in 2025, a 77% hit rate. The Vikings, however, giving up the fewest receptions to wide receivers in the NFL. So not a very good matchup standpoint. So we're going to go ahead and avoid that because then you have to go to 5.5, which is a plus money play. Not worth it for me, honestly. Let's go ahead and go back and see what else we got here. Guys, go ahead. Spam the chat. I don't mind. We're going to go through them all. As much as you can, I should say. Go ahead and spam the chat. Give me your plays. We're going to go through them all. Let's see. So we just did that one. Going through all the messages you guys are sending, which I love you guys for. So Pickens, Jared Goff, 255 plus passing yards. Let's take a look at that one. All right, Jared Goff. If I could spell correctly, Jared Goff. All right, we can actually get 255.5. Looks like it's an alternate line. Maybe. Let's see what we can. 255.5. Yeah, you can get probably a little bit better than this, though, if we look over around here. You can get this down to 249.5, which I know 6 yards may not make a huge difference, but it's minus 129 here. But I guess you did say 255.5, so we'll look at that one. 255.5 minus 112 over on DraftKings. That is pretty good. All right. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 257.3 passing yards per game this year, or per last 10 games. Overall, 2025, 54% hit rate, so not bad. 7 of 13 games, he's averaging 256.46 passing yards per game this year, so not bad. You do see he kind of hovers, even in the misses, he does hover around the line. As you can see from the data here, this Eagles game, 255. Again, if you took it at the 249, that 6-yard difference, that's why I say sometimes, guys, in my videos, I understand you do sacrifice some value when you adjust the line slightly, but to me, losing 10 cents or, whatever the 10 cents of the dollar, right, to get better odds, like that 6 yards in that game is the difference between a cash and a loss. Just think about it sometimes. Like, I know I get some hate sometimes in the comments of my videos when it's like I change a spread from, 8.5 to 7.5, and people are like, why do that? You're sacrificing value. Well, because that 1 point in these games sometimes is a difference between a cash or a win. Take, for example, my NBA player prop yesterday, my parlay. If I had gone heavier juice line and taken SGA over 8.5 rebounds and assists, I have a cash. Instead, I have a loss. 1 rebound / assist doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of the times it's the difference between a win and a loss. And so in this case, you can go ahead and take that from minus 129 versus minus 112. So it's, 17 cents on the dollar in terms of value, which is still you're losing value. I get it, but, just something to think about. But he hovers around the line, 241, 225. Only one time this year has he failed to cross 200 passing yards in a game. This is obviously a revenge game for Jared Goff. Okay, at LA against his former team, the Rams. Head-to-head, he had 217 yards the last time he played the Rams last year. The Lions did win that game on September 8th, early last season. He had 217 passing yards in that game. Outliers telling us that on the road, though, he's failed to exceed 260.5. Now, granted, we're looking at 255.5, but he's failed to exceed 260.5 in 5 of his last 6 games on the road. And if you look at the road games here, he actually has failed to cash 255.5 in a lot of these games, too. Okay, this becomes a hit on the over, and that's a hit on the over. The Washington game and the Bengals game, who are notoriously 2 very bad pass defenses. But Packers, Ravens, Chiefs, and Eagles, those are not cashes. Okay. Defensively, the Rams, middle of the road, 16th, giving up 211.5 passing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks. So it's not a great matchup for the over, but not a bad one necessarily either. They do run the ball a little above league average. They still have a pretty decent pass rate, 56% pass rate this year. Let's see. Any other numbers to look at here? Past quarterbacks, but this is the one encouraging thing here. You have seen Mac Jones threw for 319 back on November 9th. Darnold threw for 279 back on November 16th. And Jacoby Brissett threw for 271 last week on December 7th. Okay, so you have seen some quarterbacks cash their lines and go over. If I go to the dashboard now on Guy Boston Sports and I look at this matchup, just see the last 3 games, what we're looking at here. Lions passing offense, last 3 games. Okay. Looking pretty good. Last 3 games, they're averaging 34 points per game and passing yards per game. They are 5th best in the NFL last 3 games. So passing has been going. The Rams pass defense last 3 games, though, 10th best in the NFL. Now, numbers might be a little bit skewed because you do see from the data here, Baker Mayfield obviously only had 41 yards, got hurt in that game. Bryce Young had 206. So last couple, the Panthers and Bucs games definitely helped the numbers out in the favor of these numbers. So I don't know. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. What do I do? What do I do here? I don't hate the play. I really don't. But the weaker part of the Rams defense of late has been the run game. Okay, the rushing defense last 14th, giving up 112.7. Still not bad necessarily. The thing is the Lions do utilize the running backs a lot. They get Jahmyr Gibbs, they get David Montgomery. That part of it scares me a little bit because you might have a little bit of a better matchup there. I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know if I don't know. I think I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass on the over. I'm gonna pass on it. I like it though. I don't hate this play. I just think that we can find some better ones personally. No offense. I don't hate it, but I think I'm gonna pass on this Jared Goff over. The data is not terrible, but this Rams team is really tough, and we have seen the Lions this year against these tougher teams kind of fumble a little bit. Not literally fumble, but like offensively, they kind of crumble a little bit when they play these tougher teams. But still, I appreciate the play, and don't be afraid to keep giving more our way. Shout out to Logan. You suggested it. I appreciate the suggestion. I did see Tyler Warren. All right, so Tyler Warren, receiving yards. Where are you? There's a lot of Tylers in the NFL. Tyler Warren. Oh, this is all right. Well, this is our time, I guess, to talk about Phillip Rivers. This is our time to talk Colts. You said 36.5. I'm taking it at 35.5 minus 112 on FanDuel. Actually, can we get even better than that? Let's see. No, looks like that's the best we're gonna get. Okay, 35.5 minus 112 on FanDuel. He's cashed 7 of his last 10. The rookie tight end for the Colts, averaging 50.6 receiving yards per game. So far this year, 10 of 13 games, 77% hit rate, averaging 53.77 receiving yards per game. So pretty good numbers across the board. 71% catch rate, 6.5 targets per game, about a 19% target share on the season. He is second on the team in targets. Only Michael Pittman is getting thrown the ball more. Seahawks, overall this year, 13th in receiving yards allowed, giving up 220 per game versus tight ends. Oh, second worst defense in the NFL, giving up almost 72 yards per game to the tight end position. Okay. Past tight end performances. Kyle Pitts had 90 yards last week against the Seahawks defense. Hawkinson, 59. Okonkwo, 40. Gunnar Helm. You know who Gunnar Helm is, the Titans' backup tight end. 51 yards. Tyler Higbee, 23. Trey McBride had 127. So we found sort of the weakness of this Seahawks defense. It's going on the play sheet. And here's the reason why. Not only is the matchup very good, not only is Tyler Warren's data very good, but just from a game script perspective, if I look over on the dashboard here real quick, and we look at this Colts Seahawks game, and I know you guys can't see the dashboard. I apologize for that. Where are you, Colts Seahawks? Where are you? There we go. Colts Seahawks. Okay. The Seahawks defense against the run is really good. The number 1 ranked run defense in the NFL in terms of DVOA. Last 3 games, this is still a top 10 defense. They can stop the run. I think the strategy for the Seahawks defensively in this game, it's very simple. Take away Jonathan Taylor. You want to put Phillip Rivers out there? Throw the ball, Phillip. Throw the ball. Take the ball. Beat us with your arm. That's what I think the game plan is going to be for the Seahawks defensively. Take away the run. Force the ball into Rivers' hands. Make him beat you in the passing game. Now, Phillip Rivers, in this spot, Tyler Warren could be that safety blanket type of play. That guy where things get tough, pressure starts coming. Where's my tight end? Where's my safety blanket? Where's my guy? And we've seen in his career, Phillip Rivers, how many years with Antonio Gates in LA? How many years with Antonio Gates? How many years with Hunter Henry? Okay, tight ends and Phillip Rivers. They've always, pause. I mean, he's got 9 kids. So, yeah. Tight ends, all right? They do something to Phillip Rivers, all right? They do something to the guy, all right? I think it's a great play. We're putting on the play sheet. Over 35.5 receiving yards, minus 112 over on FanDuel. Book it. Love this play. Love the suggestion. Love the play. I think it's a great spot. And there's my little Phillip Rivers love for the day. That's about what you're going to get out of me for that. Because I'm not betting his over in receiving yards. You are high if you think I'm betting his over in receiving yards in this game. And look, maybe it does hit, but I don't want to be the one to bet that personally. Minus 112 on FanDuel, getting it plugged in. I'm going to put a full unit on this one. That's a full unit play. I love that spot. Shout out to whoever recommended. That's a good one. Good one. All right. Going back up here, going through all the comments here. Let's see what we got. Tasso, what's your process? Whoops, I can click. I work on computer properly. What's your process when game scripting? Like I look through target shares and then the script goes left. What's the trick you look for in NFL compared to NBA? NFL, it's a couple different things. I mean, it's in the NBA. I don't look at. There's not one stat category I look at and I'm like, this is it. Like I am a big time look through a lot of different data points. So the trend, for example, like last 10 data, 2025 data, those are good things to use. They're not necessarily like religion to me, like when it comes to NFL. NBA more so, because I think NBA is way more of a trend. It's way more of a flow style kind of game where it's like, if a guy's been hot, last 5 games been hot, it's good to go ahead and tail him. NFL, I don't think it's as much to do with trends of like how they've been playing last couple games, more so matchup, situation, spots. So obviously like the last player prop, right? Matchup. Okay, Seattle, second worst defense in terms of yards allowed to tight end. So we know right off the bat, baseline, Tyler Warren is in a position group where he has an advantage. Okay, the game script, they're really good stopping the run, which means that in this type of a game, Colts are going to have to throw the football. Okay, they're going to have to throw the football a little bit more. They're probably going to be losing in this game because Seattle is a better team. So you're going to see way more passes than rushes. So there's going to be a higher volume of opportunity. Yes, the target share does matter too. He's number 2 in target share. Okay, almost 20% target share. So when they are throwing the football, mathematically speaking, 1 of every 5 times that ball goes to the air is going to Tyler Warren. If they're going to throw the football, 30, 40 times, which in this game is very possible, he's going to get 5 or 6 targets somewhere in that ballpark. So all those things kind of come into fruition there. NBA, like I said, that's a lot more trend-based, a lot more like what have you done the last 10 games? What have you done the last 5 games? How have you been? Are you hot? Are you not? NFL, you can go 4 straight cashes in a row, but if you have a tough matchup, I don't like the spot. It's a lot less trend-based, way more matchup-based. NBA, I feel like a lot of guys you can transcend matchups because in the NBA, you just get hot shooting one night. It doesn't matter how good they are defensively. You have the hot hand, you're going to make those shots. NFL, not really the same thing. If you're going up against Pat Surtain, it's just going to be a rough night for you. So it's a lot more matchup based, I would say, when it comes to betting player props in the NFL. If you have a good matchup like this one, you can do anything, in my opinion. Versus NBA, like you can have a good matchup. You could be playing the worst defense against point guards in the NBA. Like they could be dead last in points allowed. But if you just don't bring it that night, if you just don't have the hot hand that night, you're just shooting poorly, you're just not going to have a good game. And that happens. NFL, it's not like that. Usually if you have a good matchup and you're playing well, you're going to cash the over. You know what I mean? Especially when you're relying on the quarterback throwing the football. Now, if he has a bad day, if he has an off day, it affects you a little bit. But I think NBA is way more how have you been playing lately, less so matchup. I think, NFL is way more matchup based. All right. Let's see. What else we got? A lot of picks. Love you guys. You guys have been hot in the comment section today. Love it. Justin Jefferson over 5.5 receptions. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't love this spot, but we can look at it. Justin Jefferson. I don't like receptions is tough. But we'll look at it. Over 5.5. I'd rather receiving yards personally, but all right, right off the bat, you got a plus money play here. It's plus 121. So there is a value standpoint to this. But the data's not good. He's failed to cash this in 5 straight. Only 4 of his last 10. And from an overall perspective this year, he's only cashed this in 4 of 13 games. Say 31% hit rate. When they had Carson Wentz, things were going a little bit better for him. With J.J. McCarthy, and we can literally put a filter in here on Outlier. With J.J., okay, 1 of 7 games. So I get the matchup. I get why you probably went with this. Is the matchup. Dallas this year giving up 23.5 receptions per game to opposing teams versus wide receivers, 26. I get that. And if you go down below here, Amon-Ra, 6 receptions. Jameis Williams, 7. You go through the list here. A lot of the top guys, Rashee Rice, 8. A.J. Brown, 8. The number one wide receivers have been cashing their lines. Here's the difference. And you guys can crap on Jalen Hurts all you want. I get it. It's funny to do it. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. He has his moments, but he's a good quarterback. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff. Let's see what other data points we have here. Raiders did pretty well. Okay, for the most part. Trey Tucker, 4 catches, the best they got. My point being here is that, yes, the number one wide receivers have been going off, but they also have good quarterbacks. Again, with J.J. McCarthy in at quarterback, just 1 of 7 games this year has Jay Jett has cashed the over. Now, he is still getting a decent amount of targets, but it actually has been decreasing. Like Washington, now they blew that game they blew the doors off Washington, so they didn't need to throw as much. In this game, based off the style of Dallas, this could be a higher scoring game because Dallas offense obviously one of the best in the NFL. This could be a game where the Vikings have to kind of get into a bit of a shootout with the Cowboys. I don't love it, and I'm not going to bet it personally. It's just 6 catches a lot, and I know he's number one, but like, can McCarthy get it to him that consistently? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not going to ride with that one. No offense, but I just think it's a rough spot. Betting on anything with the Vikings right now offensively is really tough. Really tough. All right. Nico Collins over 72.5 receiving yards. Like I said, guys, I'm going to do my best to get through all of these. I know there's so many comments, and I love it. Don't stop, though. Don't stop sending comments. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. We're going to say till 11. That's my goal. We still have another 45 minutes here. Plenty of time to go ahead and go through all these. So Nico Collins, you said 73.5. Let's see. We have it 74 here. Can I get 73.5? 73. Yeah, 74. Okay. Nico Collins over 74.5 receiving yards. So he's cashed it 7 of his last 10 games. He's averaging 83.9 receiving yards over his last 10 games. So far this year, a 58% hit rate on his over 7 of 12 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 76.33 receiving yards per game this year. So pretty good numbers across the board here for Nico Collins. Last 5 games, we really go ahead and narrow this down. 4 of his last 5 games, he's cashed the over. He's averaging 100 yards per game over the last 5 games. So some really good numbers for Nico Collins here. He's getting about 9 targets per game on average. So a lot of work here between Davis Mills and with Stroud coming back now. Pretty good numbers. Now, at home this year, he has not been that great, as you can see from the insight provided by Outlier. Although this line is higher. It's 79.5. We're getting at 74, which these two would then become cashes on the over. And it's also looking at the under, so I don't know why Outlier switched our line like that, but we'll go back to the over. 74.5. All right. Matchup time. All right. Overall, the Cardinals 20th in the NFL in terms of yards allowed versus wide receivers, 18th. So not a great matchup. Not a bad one, though. He's obviously far and away number 1 in targets. And looking down below here, pass wide receivers. Puka Nacua last week had 167 yards. Chris Godwin had 78. Jacoby Myers had 50 for the Jaguars. Parker Washington, 71. Juwan Jennings, 54. Cooper Kupp, 74. So pretty good. In terms of our line, though, Jackson Smith-Njigba had 93, so that's good. Before I give my blessing, because I don't hate the play, I think we could maybe have a better spot. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, this could be a little bit of a better spot. Not 74.5. Let's go to 36. Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yep, that's what I thought. Okay. This is a little bit of a better spot. I'm going to avoid Nico Collins. I'm going to take Dalton Schultz here over 36.5 receiving yards, which I'm grabbing for -110. Best odds available over on BetMGM. Nico Collins, not a bad prop. If you want to go ahead and tail that, I approve of it. I personally am not going to put it on our play sheet because I do think from a matchup perspective, this one could be a little juicier. Obviously lower. Granted, he's not getting nearly as many yards as Nico Collins has, but the data is solid. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. He's averaging almost 48 receiving yards per game over the last 10. So far this year, 54% on the season, averaging 44.15 receiving yards per game. Target share perspective, like we showed before, he's number 2 in targets with a 19% target share, so pretty high up there. Now, they do throw the ball more than league average, slightly above league average, but the matchup's very good here. The Cardinals 23rd in the NFL in receiving yards allowed to the tight end position, giving up 61 yards per game. So very good matchup. Look at the tight ends here. Davis Allen, 21. Kobe Parkinson had 32. Brenton Strange for the Jaguars not too long ago, a few weeks back, had 93 yards. George Kittle had 67. Okay, so some pretty good marks here. I think for him to get 37 yards is a pretty good spot. And he is a trusted weapon of C.J. Stroud. We have seen, like Nico Collins, the home numbers for these guys when they play in Houston has not been great. I do want to see real quick with Stroud, just to kind of see what it looks like here when Stroud plays. 50-50. But if we narrow this down last 5, a couple really good performances here. I'm going to rock with this one. So Dalton Schultz, over 36.5, minus 110. I'll put like 3/4 of a unit on this one also. So Dalton, this is our, third tight end prop, fourth tight end prop? Yeah, we got 3 tight end props so far. So we're loving the tight ends today. Call us Phillip Rivers. All right, we're loving tight ends today. All right. Receiving yards. Minus 110, BetMGM. All right, we're moving here. We got picks, only 4 so far, but we've gone through multiple that we just haven't gone with on our play sheet. Let's see. Let's go through. We have a lot. You guys are giving us a lot to work with. I love that. Let's see. I like this one. I know you're the most recent. Sorry, guys. I know he's kind of skipped the line a little bit there with that one, but I know ahead of time I like this matchup spot here. So Wan'Dale Robinson. I'm going to do receiving yards most likely, not receptions. If you know anything about me, guys, I'm way more of a receiving yards guy than I am a receptions guy. I'm not a huge receptions guy. I think because you can only get 2 catches but get your over receiving yards. So I think receiving yards a little bit more of a better side. So Wan'Dale over 57.5. Now, granted, the data is not very good. He did have a couple weeks ago versus Detroit. That was with Jameis Winston, though. He had 156 receiving yards, 34 with New England, against New England. With Jackson Dart. So with Jackson Dart. Now, the Giants are off a bye week, so they have had an extra week of rest, an extra week of prep for this game. So far this year, 4 of 10 games with Jackson Dart, he's cashed the over. He is the number 1 targeted receiver in this offense by a wide margin, 28% target share. This is a great matchup, too. 27th, the Commanders in receiving yards allowed versus wide receivers. 26th, give up 163 yards per game to wide receivers. So it's a very good matchup spot here. Looking down below, pass receivers, Jordan Addison with J.J. McCarthy. He had 62 yards. Jalen Naylor had 30. Pat Bryant for the Broncos, 42. Cortland Sutton had 62. So you have seen some receivers have success against this Commanders offense. James Williams, 119. Amon-Ra, 58. Not crazy good, but good overall. He just gets so many targets, man. He gets so many. 110 targets, 28. The next best is Theo Johnson at 68 targets. Wan'Dale Robinson just gets so much work in this offense. And they do run the ball a lot. But in this matchup, I think passing it's obviously going to have a lot of advantages. He's averaging, look at the last few games. Look at the volume of work. 11 targets, 9 receptions. 11 targets, 6 receptions. 8 targets, 7 receptions. Like, he's just getting a lot of work in his offense. That's crazy, though. Maybe receptions is the way to go with this one because 7 catches, he only had 34 receiving yards. That's crazy. 9 catches, 46 receiving. What's his reception line at? I'm going to contradict myself here, but that's insane. 5.5. What's a 4.5? Ooh, so you got to go basically 5.5. The data on this one actually is really, really good. He's averaging almost 6 catches a game. Yeah, that's crazy. How are you getting 7 catches in a game and you don't get yards? That's crazy. All right, I'm going to go with the receptions here. We do obviously have the weather factor, which good point, which could affect how much they're throwing the ball in this game. What's the Commanders' run defense look like? Let's see. Not good either. So, hold on one second. Weather. Let's go to Google. Weather in MetLife. MetLife Stadium. It is snowing. It's light snow showers. And it's going to snow. Come on. What is this? A cool weather? Except snow and flurries this morning, accumulating according to an inch. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, breezing, cold, storm, total snowfall 3 to 6 inches high. Where is the snow? How long is it? Snow is ending soon. With a storm total of 3 to 6 inches. It's going to be fine. By the time game starts, snow should be done. I'm taking the receptions. Screw it. Give me Wan'Dale over 5.5. I'll put half a unit. Wan'Dale Robinson over 5.5 receptions. It's just too good of the data is really good on this one. So Wan'Dale Robinson over 5.5 receptions, plus 112 on FanDuel. All right. And we're going to put half a unit on that play. That way, even the weather does affect it, we're not putting too much on it. But I do think it's a good spot to go ahead and tail. All right. Someone said catch up, Tasso. Yeah, we got to catch up. We got a lot of props to get through, guys, still. That's what I did. I did 5.5 receptions because of weather and targets, pair with David Monty receiving. Yeah, like I said, I think it's a good spot. The data is really, really good. And again, I can't believe he gets 7 catches and doesn't even break 40 yards receiving. But, all right. Gus Vaughn, you've said it a couple times, and I got to give you your credit. Chuba Hubbard, over 45.5 rushing yards. He has been dealing with injuries most of the year, but he has been getting more carries and just overall love the spot against the Saints defense. So let's look at Chuba. I know Rico Dowdle for a while there kind of took over, and he's still obviously in the picture. But let's say Chuba. All right. Chuba over, you said 45.5. Well, I'll go 44.5. Minus 112. All right. I'm going to drink a water here. 44.5. Now, he is coming off a good game last time out. All right. Last time. God damn it. Stop. Computer. There we go. All right. 83 receiving yards against the Rams last time out. And I think I know what happened here, guys. I'm like 90% sure that my headphones just died on me. Yep. Hold on one second. Yeah, headphones died on me. I was like, why is all of a sudden the sound has changed dramatically here? What is happening? And it is that would be my headphones dying on me. So let's go ahead and make sure my audio is good. All right, we're good. All right, we're good. All right, just want to make sure we had no technical difficulties there because of my headphones dying on me. We'll hopefully get those charged up quickly and get back to us soon. Anyways, all right. Will all these players be listed once we're done? Yes. All the plays that we're doing will be listed once we're done with the live stream. All right, so where were we? Okay, Chuba Hubbard. All right, 83 yards. He had a big game versus the Rams. They're off a bye week, obviously, so an extra week of rest, extra week of prep coming into this game. He did have 17 carries last week. So obviously, like they mentioned, like Gus mentioned, had some injuries. When he came back from injury, was really struggling to get the workload there. Okay, so he had 5 carries, 3 carries, 4 carries, 3 carries. Like obviously, like he was getting, and that was because Rico Dowdle kind of had those big weeks, right? And Rico this year now has the majority of the carries. But last week versus the Rams, look at the run share. He had 17 carries. They 43% run share. So clearly, as much as Rico Dowdle has been good this year, and as much as they liked Rico Dowdle, and he's got a lot of work, last week to me was kind of telling in that big game against this Rams team, the biggest game of the year for the Panthers, and it's the game they won, and they went to him. 43% run share. So that's obviously very, very big. They are playing a Saints defense that is not on paper that great, and their run defense in particular is really bad. Okay, 24th. If we go to the dashboard real quick, I just want to go ahead and look at the last couple games and see what it looks like. Okay, run DVOA for the Saints. They have actually they ranked pretty decently, 13th in run DVOA this year, so not bad. Last 3 games though, they're giving up 154.7 rushing yards per game. Pass defense has been very, very good. So I think the data obviously isn't great. He did, however, cash this at an 80% clip last year. So really, really good year last year. This year, obviously, delayed by injuries. Head to head, 1 of 3. So earlier this year, again, this is kind of when he started getting, when he was hurt. He only had 14 rushing yards. I believe he only had 3 carries in that game. 2 of those misses. He had 6 carries for the first time to September 8th of last year and 3 carries. He's going to get more work. As you can see here in this game, he had 15 carries and he had 72 rushing yards. As long as he gets in that ballpark of 15 carries, I think we're good here. So I'm going to go ahead and add this one. So that's Chuba Hubbard over 44.5 receiving yards. I think it is a good way to look at it. It's a huge game for the Panthers. And the Saints pass defense has been very, very good. So I do think in this spot, taking the rushing yards for Chuba, even Rico Dowdle wouldn't be a bad look, I don't think. But I think you might be on the money here. That Rams game could be pretty telling. The fact that he got so much work in that game. I do want to see what Rico Dowdle did in that spot, though, just to see. Am I missing something with Rico? I hope I'm not stupid and he didn't. I don't really remember the game entirely. Did he get hurt? No, he played. What happened in the Rams game for Rico? He had 58 yards. And he had 18 carries too. So he actually did get a lot of work. So honestly, either running back here probably wouldn't be a bad play. I do think you're probably going to get more value on Chuba because the line's higher for Rico. But the fact that Chuba did get 17 carries, 1 fewer than Rico Dowdle, but still got that many carries, to me says that he's going to get a decent amount of work here. So, yeah, I like the spot, and I'll take it. I think that there's enough value there, and I think in this matchup, they're going to need to run the football a healthy amount. So, Chuba Hubbard over 44.5 receiving yards. It's minus 112 over on FanDuel. And again, this is one, I don't know if it's a full unit play. I'll probably put 3/4. We put a lot of 3/4 unit bets here, but that's a 3/4 unit bet, in my opinion. All right. So, a quick little recap for people who obviously are watching. We so far have George Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. And again, don't worry, all of these plays will be posted once the stream is done. So Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. We have, and these are all single bets. We have Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdown passes. We have Tyler Warren over 35.5 receiving yards. We have Dalton Schultz over 36.5 receiving yards. We have Wan'Dale Robinson over 5.5 receptions, and now Chuba Hubbard over 44.5 receiving yards. Let's keep going. And again, I'm trying my best, guys. You guys are great. I love all the interaction in this live stream today. You guys have been very active in the chat, and I do appreciate that. I am very much trying to get through all these props. I will do as much as I possibly can. Let's see. Come on, what do we want here? What do we like here? Darnold over 233.5 passing yards. I don't hate that spot. I know the Colts pass defense has been booty cheeks this year. Let's go ahead and see Sam Darnold. And the Colts run defense has been pretty good. So you might as well just do the 234.5 pass plus rush in the event he takes off. Maybe it helps. And it's plus, I thought it said 234. 233. You might as well, I mean, I don't know how many rushing yards he barely runs, although he did have 23 rushing yards last time out versus Atlanta. So you might as well pair them because I don't know what the passing yards, unless there's a big difference. Let's see. If we did passing yards, 227, it's not a big enough difference. I'll do the passing and rushing yards. So passing rushing yards over 234.5. Or 233.5, 233.5 minus 114 over on DraftKings. He's cashed in 7 of his last 10 games. He's averaging 255.7 passing plus rushing yards per game. And like I said, not a lot of games this year has the rushing yards come into play. But last time out versus the Falcons, he did have 23 rushing yards in that game. So he can once in a while take off and run. He had 11 yards versus the Rams. He had 24 yards week 1 versus the Cardinals, or September 25th versus the Cardinals. Overall this year, 62% hit rate. He's averaging just shy of 250. And he's going to cash it mostly in passing yards. We may not even need the rushing yards, but I like the spot. Now, they are a very run-heavy team. That being said, though, he has exceeded 239. And again, we're getting this at 233. but he's exceeded 239.5 passing plus rushing in 7 of his last 8 games versus bottom 10 defenses for passing yards allowed. And he's averaging 280 passing plus rushing yards. So pretty good numbers. And look at the last few quarterbacks versus the Colts. Trevor Lawrence, 260 passing plus rushing. CJ Stroud, 276. Patrick Mahomes, 382. Penix was the last one to kind of go under the line at 176. This year, the Colts defense, 28th in passing yards allowed and 6th in rushing. So it's a very good run defense. So if the Seahawks are going to win this game, they have to do it through the air. As you can see all year long, the Colts pass defense, 6th best run defense, 28th pass defense. And if we even go to the last 3 games, we go to the dashboard and we narrow this down, last 3 games, they are last 3 games, the Colts, 31st in passing yards allowed per game. The run defense hasn't been very good either, 19th last 3, but the pass defense consistently all year long has been the weak point for this Colts defense. So yeah, we'll take it. Sam Darnold over 233.5 passing plus rushing yards. Plug that in. Over 233.5 pass plus rush yards. And we got that for minus, what was it? Minus 114 on DraftKings. All right. All right. Plug that into the book. There we go. And I'm going to put a full unit on this one. I think it's worthy of a full unit. All right. All the Colts DBs are injured. Yeah. I mean, even when they weren't injured, it really didn't mean too much. Okay. Let's go. Keep going. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got? All right. So we went through most of these. TreVeyon Henderson. I saw a couple mention TreVeyon. A couple people mentioned TreVeyon. So we'll look at TreVeyon. And a lot of people are saying his rushing yards. Let's see. Rushing. I saw 44.5 was the line that people were giving me, but I think 45.5 is fine because we get on most sportsbooks. So over 45.5. He's now cashed this in 6 straight games. So really good. Obviously, we know the weather's a factor here. If we go over to our weather thing here and we go ahead and put in, go back to Google. Like let me see. It's still snowing outside. Like I live about an hour and a half from Gillette Stadium, and I can tell you right now, it is still snowing pretty aggressively. So now, obviously, an hour and a half is a pretty big difference, but maybe not even an hour and a half. Probably a little bit less than that, if I'm being honest. I live pretty, relatively close to Gillette Stadium. Weather in Gillette Stadium. Let's see the precipitation. It's gonna go down a bit, but it's gonna keep snowing through game time, like through the start of the game at the very least. So I think that means you're gonna see a lot more running in this game. So I think TreVeyon Henderson, he's cashed in 6 straight, and the big thing that I look at here is games with Rhamondre. Okay, so with Rhamondre playing, which obviously Rhamondre missed some time. That's when kind of TreVeyon Henderson burst onto the scene, was when Rhamondre Stevenson was hurt for that little while there. He's cashed this in 3 straight games with Rhamondre. So Rhamondre, this is the pre-injury, the Cleveland game. TreVeyon had 75 yards. Rhamondre coming back, the Bengals and the Giants. So Rhamondre's been back for 2 games. In both those games, TreVeyon has still cashed this over. And he's still getting, not as many carries as he was necessarily when Rhamondre was out, obviously, but still 18 carries with the Bengals, and he still had 11 carries last week versus the Giants. I think if you're the Patriots, you've opened Pandora's box when it comes to TreVeyon Henderson. You can't just put him back to the role he was early on the year when you see here early in the season when he was getting 3 carries, 5 carries, 6 carries. Like, he's too good of a player. You have to give him work, and I think they obviously at this point, they're going to keep giving him more. So, yeah, over 45.5. And this year, the Bills' defense versus running backs, 26. So they're giving up a lot of yards to running backs. The last time these guys played, TreVeyon only had 24 rushing yards. So they definitely went way more Rhamondre heavy. He only had 6 carries. But, again, he's going to get more work this time around. They're going to use him a lot more. TreVeyon Henderson also has exceeded 45.5 rushing yards in 4 of his last 5 games versus bottom 10 defenses for rushing yards allowed. He's averaging 55.4 rushing yards per game over those games. With the weather being there, you're going to see even more run-heavy approach, I think. And pass running backs versus the Bills, Sean Tucker, 106. Achane, 174. Woody Marks, 74. The Bengals game and the Steelers game, both those teams, not exactly the best running teams. So, number a little lower there. But I do think in this spot, Even Ramondre is not a bad bet either, but I think Travion in particular is not a bad one. So Travion Henderson, we're going to put him on there. Travion Henderson, over 45.5 rushing yards. And we were grabbing that for, what was the line again? Travion Henderson over from minus 111 on Novik. All right, minus 111 on Novik. We are, and I'm going to put a full unit on this one because I do like that spot a lot. All right, back to the chat. What do we got? Let's see. Are you doing game picks as well? Yes, I mentioned this at the top of the live stream, guys. If you like what you see here, if you like me rambling for a long time, I do a ton of picks videos here on the channel. So I also, not in the live stream, we're not going to be doing any game picks in the live stream. But if you guys do want more of my picks, I have a video that I released Friday, and they will, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday, depends on the schedule. But trying to get them out consistently on Fridays. It's called the NFL Oracle. I do it every single week. That's the video where I do spreads and money lines and totals and parlays and teasers. So a lot of stuff there. So that video is already out on the channel. So when you're done watching this live stream, go check that out because I have 12 single bets. We covered most of the games. We also have 5 teasers and a parlay. So make sure to go ahead, check that video out. It'll be out on the channel. It's already out on the channel now. And then tune in around noon time today. My Sunday Night Football picks video will be out where we cover, spreads, totals, player props for the Cowboys-Vikings game in that one. So tons of opportunities to go ahead and listen to me if you guys like what you're seeing here and, you want to go ahead and keep watching. There's plenty of more content, college football, NBA. I do a lot of stuff here on the channel. Chase Brown receiving yards. Levitate Music, I can absolutely go ahead and check that out. Chase Brown receiving yards. We'll go ahead and plug that in. Guys, just a heads up, I am planning on doing this for about another 20 minutes or so. So, make sure you get in your plays. I'm doing the best. I feel like I've gotten a good number of plays in. Expert Fire, do you like the over in the Bengals game? If you watch the Oracle, this is one of the picks I gave out in the Oracle. Yes, I love the over in that Bengals-Ravens game. Love the over. One of my favorite plays of the week, actually, is in that Bengals-Ravens game. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of... Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me I'm wrong, but I feel like I've done a good job of trying to get as many of these props in that you guys have been throwing my way. So Chase Brown receiving yards. Oh, so it was literally right there. Over 20.5 receiving yards. He's cashed in 7 of his last 10 games. He's averaging 25.6 receiving yards per game last 10. Narrowed down to the last 5. Still pretty good. 4 of his last 5. Averaging 34.6 receiving yards per game over the last 5 games. So far this year, we look at the overall data, 54%. He had a bit of a slow start, but lately, and especially with the return of Joe Burrow, it's gotten better. When they got Joe Flacco in, it obviously made a big difference. But yeah, pretty good numbers here for Chase Brown. Head-to-head, he's now cashed this in 2 straight games versus Baltimore. Thanksgiving, he had 35 receiving yards. And their last meeting on November 7th of last year, he had 52 receiving yards. So pretty good head-to-head data. He's averaging about 31.67 receiving yards per game. Again, he's exceeded it in 4 of his last 5 at home. So pretty good numbers in Cincinnati. The Ravens so far this year in terms of receiving yards allowed, 26th in the NFL versus running backs, 28th. So very good matchup there. Pass running backs receiving yard marks. Jaylen Warren had 49 receiving yards. Kenneth Gainwell had 27. Chase Brown again had 35. Breece Hall had 75. So some really good numbers here. You see some pretty good running back performances in terms of receiving yards. Considering that Chase Brown is someone that, again, last 10 games, last 5 games has been catching the ball a lot in terms of targets. I do want to see what the target share looks like for him. Last few games, he's 3rd on the team in targets. So it's Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and then it's Chase Brown by a pretty good margin over the next up, Andre Iosovas. And if we look at the last couple games, let's look at the last 5, which is where he's really kind of caught fire here. He's averaging about 7.4 targets per game. Now, obviously, kind of inflated because that Bears game, he had 14 targets. But he's gotten at least 4 targets in each of the last 4 games. So he's getting a decent amount of work in the passing game. He had 7 targets versus Baltimore last time. We'll put it on the play sheet. Over 20.5 receiving yards, minus 112 over on FanDuel. So Chase Brown, over 20.5 receiving yards, minus 112. On FanDuel. All right. And we'll put a full unit on that one. All right. So there's another one. I saw somebody mention in all caps earlier Kobe Parkinson. So we'll go ahead and do that gentleman or lady a favor and do Kobe Parkinson. I don't remember what exactly they were looking for. Was it receptions or was it yards? But we're going to go ahead and take a look here, I guess, at multiple angles, and we'll just kind of see what the advantage is here for Kobe against the Lions defense. So, right off the bat, receiving yard wise, not 14th. If we let's look at over so we get accurate data here. So they're 14th, so not a great matchup. Let's look at receptions. I think it might have been receptions what we were looking at. Over 3.5. Yeah, they're top 10. They don't really give a lot of catches at the tight end position. Although Jake Ferguson did have 5 catches last week against them. So, I can't remember what they said. It was receptions. It was receptions. Levitate me. There were receptions. Okay. So if it's receptions, I'm going to say no. He's 4th in targets. Like they definitely are going to look at Puka and Devontae more. The Lions really don't give a lot of receptions to the tight end position. Head to head, although he did have 4 last time they played. 4 last time they played. Last 5 games, he's cashed at 3 of the last 5. He just is really close to that line. Even when he cashes, it's very narrow cashes. He's only getting about 4 targets per game on average. I'm gonna pass. Respectfully, I'm gonna pass. I just don't think it's worth it. Let's see. Not sure if you did. Like I said, trying to go back and see. You guys put a lot of plays. James Cook under in rushing yards. All right, James Cook. Rushing yards. I'm looking just rushing yards under. You can get under 85.5 from -112. Pretty good. He's only cashes in 4 of his last 10. Obviously, this is a really very much a matchup spot here. Versus New England now. Earlier this year, if my computer will cooperate, the last 2 times he's played New England. Now, this game, again, take it with a grain of salt. That was the last game of the year. He had 28 rushing yards. He didn't even play that much in that game. If I look back on the rush attempts, he had 10. So, I mean, still a decent number. But obviously, earlier this year, he had 15 carries for just 49 yards. New England, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. 3rd best versus running backs, 2nd best. So this is a very good run defense. This is how they beat Buffalo last time. They shut down the run and didn't let James Cook get away with much. Now, if I go to the dashboard, and I do narrow this down to the last 3 games, just see how New England's been holding up with their run defense. And it's not been as good. Okay, last 3 games, they're 20th in the NFL, giving up 123.7 rushing yards per game. Now, obviously, snow game, we'll see how that affects things. But the run defense has not held up as well of late. I still think they're going to keep him down. I don't think he's going to go crazy on this run defense, if I'm being honest. One of the bigger injury sides for New England is the fact that, and I believe he's still out, if I go down here, is Milt Williams. His injury, like his loss, obviously really, really big. He was really stuffing up the middle. Robert Spillane obviously still hurt. They have quite a few injuries there on defense, which has definitely affected some things. So I still a very high line. I still think that he's going to cash the under. I would lean under here, but ultimately, because of the snow game, because of the way the Pats run defense has looked of late, I'm probably going to go ahead and maybe back off this one a little bit. I'm going to be a little more cautious on this one. I'm going to avoid that. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead. I think I'm mostly caught up, I feel like, with a lot of these. People keep saying Saquon. I don't know about that one. Saquon's been a really rough guy to bet on this year. Now, they are playing the Raiders, and that obviously I get that part of it, and I think the Eagles are going to have a big day. And you're getting a discount on his line because of how bad he's been this year. Let's see. Over 78.5. Last year, he cashed at an 80% hit rate. He was dominant last year. This year, though, just 4 of 13. Now, he's coming off a big game. He had 122 yards versus the Chargers. Raiders versus running backs this year, 17. So it's an okay neutral matchup. They actually aren't a terrible defense on the ground. Not a good one, but not terrible. He obviously is dominating carries. Last couple running backs, Vidal for the Chargers had 126. RJ Harvey had 75. Javonte Williams had 93. So I mean, we've seen some good running backs have success. I'm gonna go over here. I think this is a. I talked about this on the Oracle. I think this is a kind of Saquon get right game. Like it's a whole Eagles get right game, but especially Saquon. Go out there, put up some stats, win big, get your confidence back. I think the Eagles do have legit issues, and I'm very interested to see how they handle these because last year at this time they had already hit their stride going into the playoffs. This year they're in the wrong. This is where they were last year at the start of the season, and this year it's the opposite. It's late in the year, which I don't think bodes well for them. I am probably going to put 3/4 of a unit on that one. So, quick recap here. We have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks so far in the video. So we're got a pretty good number of plays. Let's see. Tasso, do you think Texans and Eagles cover? My recommendation for this, and I do think both these teams will. I think I actually gave both picks out in the Oracle, if my memory serves me correctly. I think they're probably going to cover. The Texans one, I think, the Eagles, I think, are definitely going to cover their line. The Texans one is a little more concerning because of how much the Cardinals throw the football. They can kind of hang around there, maybe. Can keep it kind of close. My biggest suggestion to you would be to tease those two. If you ever have doubts about this, you can do a 2-leg teaser on DraftKings, do like a 6-point tease. And I don't know. I know the Eagles were 11.5. I don't know what the Texans spread is as of right now, but you can just tease the two of them. You're good. You're good. You're good. You don't have to. My bad for the Caps. You're good, Expert Fire. Tease them. Just tease the two of them, or do an alternate line parlay. Bring them down a bit, and you're good to go. Because I do think both those teams are winning, and they should cover, but they obviously are very big spreads. Like I said, the Eagles were something like, I think it was 11.5. I can't remember the Texans. I think they were like 9.5 or 10.5. But if you tease those down a little bit, you're going to be good to go there. So that's not a bad idea to go ahead and tease those two teams there. Levitate Music. Yeah, no problem, Levitate. Saying thank you for the info on the James Cook prop. Like I said, I don't hate it. It's just that the records in the past against the Patriots suggest it's probably not the best play. Not a bad one, but not the best play. Let's see what else we got here. We only have a few minutes left. We have about 10 minutes left, so I think we should probably start building our anytime touchdown parlay soon. Probably now, honestly, if I'm being honest. I'm going to look at the Shedeur Sanders, the last one. Shedeur Sanders passing prop. Because weather is another factor here. It's going to be very, very cold, but it's a very good matchup for Shedeur. It's a very good matchup for Shedeur Sanders. And I think you're going to get some discount on the value here. Over 192.5 passing rushing. How has he been rushing the football? He had 29 versus Titans. Not much else in the run department here. The Bears are a bad run defense too. So Jordan Love had 233, Jalen Hurts 261, Mason Rudolph, which, I mean, it's Mason Rudolph and McCarthy. Those two are, I guess they're comparable to Shedeur. Jackson Dart at 308. What would just his passing yards be? I kind of like the rushing component. Ooh, you take the rushing yards off, it goes down quite a bit. I kind of like the rushing yard component, though, because I feel like it's not bad. I feel like he has the ability to take off and run, and the Bears' run defense is not very good. What's I can do this because Outlier can give me it from this perspective. Rushing yards versus quarterbacks. They are giving up 22.5 rushing yards per game to quarterbacks this year. And pass quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts had 31. Jackson Dart had 66 yards rushing. I'm going to go passing plus rushing. You guys might criticize me for that one, but I do like passing plus rushing. So over 192.5. Over 192.5. Passing. He had 393 against the Titans, 208 versus the Raiders. I do think this Bears defense is very, very bad. And I think it's a huge advantage for Shedeur Sanders in this game. I think that the Browns, I actually picked them a spread pick, I think, in the Oracle, because I think that he's going to be able to go ahead and hang around here with their offense. This Bears defense has been awful this year. So I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders over. Nope, not first quarter. Over 192.5 passing plus rushing. That'll be our final single bet. We'll finish the video off there. Well, in terms of the single bets. So we're going to get to our parlay next. So Shedeur Sanders. Over 192.5 passing plus rushing yards, and that was minus, I believe, was it 112 on FanDuel? 113. All right, minus 113 on FanDuel. And we'll put 3/4 of a unit on that. So we have 11 plays. So real quick, and then guys, go ahead and flood the chat. All right, levitate music. I'll comment on this because you did mention this a few times. The reason why I'm going to avoid passing attempts is because the Texans defense scares me. Plain and simple, very much scares me. So that scares me, and I'm going to avoid anything with the Cardinals here in their offense. So now, as I go ahead and read off the picks that I've given so far in the video, this is your chance for the anytime touchdown. So how I end every live stream, we do a 3-leg parlay, anytime touchdown parlay. This is your chance. Just flood the chat with all the touchdown props that you want to see. Anytime touchdown prop, flood the chat, give me your picks, and then we'll pick the 3 best that I like, and we'll build a community parlay, and we'll all ride together. And last live stream, we cashed it. It was a 3-leg parlay plus 441. We hit that. So let's go ahead as a community, ride this. If this parlay hits, whatever the parlay we're going to build, and we're going to build a nice 3-leg parlay. If today's community parlay hits, I'm going to pick one commenter in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and give a free $25 Amazon gift card. So make sure to go ahead, give your suggestions, give your plays. I'll give you like 2 minutes. Give me all your plays as I go ahead and read off what we have so far and kind of go through the chat if there are any updated messages I have to look at. So here's what we have, okay, that we've built so far in the hour and 25 minutes we've been on the live stream here. We have George Kittle over 61.5 receiving yards. We have Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdown passes. We have Tyler Warren over 35.5 receiving yards. Dalton Schultz over 36.5 receiving yards. Wan'Dale Robinson over 5.5 receptions. Chuba Hubbard over 44.5 rushing yards. And by the way, guys, don't worry if you're missing all of these. These will all be posted after the video is done. Where was I? Chuba Hubbard over 44.5 rushing yards. Sam Darnold over 233.5 passing plus rushing yards. Travion Henderson over 45.5 rushing yards. Chase Brown over 20.5 receiving yards. Saquon Barkley over 78.5 rushing yards. And Shedeur Sanders over 192.5 passing plus rushing combo. So that is, if I go back through here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 picks we gave out today. So 11 picks. And now, in the final minutes here, we're going to go ahead and do our anytime touchdown parlay. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Starting closer to the top, and we'll work our way down. And again, if I like a play a lot, we'll go ahead and put it in. So levitate, first off, JSN. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Now we're going to go ahead and eliminate our filters here. We're just going to look for touchdowns only and eliminate this and eliminate that. And we're going to look at Jackson Smith. Oh, actually, we have to go ahead and make sure it's over because we're looking at anytime touchdown to score touchdowns here. So Jackson Smith-Njigba, anytime touchdown. Let's see. So he's cashed 6 of his last 10. He's had 2 multi-touchdown games over the last 3. So far this year, a 54% hit rate on the over. He's averaging 0.69 touchdowns. Pause for applause. 0.69 touchdowns per game this year. Down below here, he's number 1 in targets by a healthy margin. In the red zone, same thing. Only A.J. Barner, the tight end, is up close to him. But, number 1 targets, number 1 in red zone targets. He doesn't have to need red zone work necessarily to get touchdowns either. But he had 2 versus the Falcons. He had 5 red zone targets versus the Titans. This is a Colts team that is 19th in touchdowns allowed to the wide receiver position. Last couple games, Tim Patrick with touchdown, Jacoby Myers touchdown, Nico Collins had one, Drake London. And again, the Colts, their run defense is very, very good. So like we mentioned earlier, we have Sam Darnold's passing prop there. We mentioned this earlier, how, in this matchup, I think they're going to try and they can stop the run. So if you're Seattle in this game, you're going to have to beat the Colts throwing the football. And so I do think Jackson Smith-Njigba, if you're throwing the football, him to score a touchdown has been a pretty good bet this year. What do the insights say? He has exceeded a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games at home. So he's been very good in Seattle. Very good overall this year. I'm going to put this for now. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and just copy this. All right, so I can save this. I'm going to put that right into our spreadsheet there just so we have it. And now I'm going to go ahead and clear this out just so we can go ahead and put the touchdown plays. Don't get them crossed up with our other stuff here. So we'll put that for now. And we may change it if we like something more. But for now, I'm just going to put that in there because I do like that as a potential leg. So we'll put that in there for now. And we'll go back to it when we get some more plays in. So let's go back up. You guys have been great today. Very active in the chat. I appreciate that. Let's see. Jameson Williams, anytime touchdown. All right, let's take a look at that one. All right, Jameson. Where are you? Jameson Williams. Oh, did I just clear out the shit? Touchdowns. All right, Jameson Williams. Let's see here. Cleveland also a little bit banged up there. He's cashed it in 5 of his last 10, including, if you kind of narrow it down, 5 of his last 8. Head-to-head, which I didn't really look in the last one, but he did have a touchdown last time he played the Rams back on September 8th. I don't think there's any head-to-head data on that one anyways. Versus wide receivers, the Rams do have a good defense, though, touchdown-wise. They only give up 0.8, ninth best, overall second best. He's second on the team in targets. He is way down below on red zone targets. Michael Wilson had 2 last week. Ted McMillan had 1. Jalen Coker had 1. I'm going to go ahead and pass on this one. The value is good. I agree. Value is very good, but I'm going to go ahead and pass on that one. So let's keep it moving here. Let's see. Let's scroll back up here and look what you guys got going for us. So we just did that one. We already talked about earlier. I'm going to pass on Josh Allen. We talked about the very first pick of the video, actually. I'm going to also pass on Isaac Tesla, kind of the same reason with Jameson Williams. We're trying to get a hit here. That's a big money play. Travis Etienne. Let's look at that. Travis Etienne. Jacksonville is playing the Jets, so a really good matchup. It's a very juiced line, and I will say that right off the bat. Now, the Jets are giving up a healthy amount. The number one in terms of touchdowns allowed to running backs, and literally every running back has scored a touchdown against the Jets lately. Everyone. So the big problem I have here is the fact that it's just so much juice on the play. Minus 163 on Novik. If anything, I would probably maybe look towards Tutin. Where is he? Maybe look towards the other running back, Tutin. He probably has better value. Really good value. And his numbers aren't bad either. He had no red zone carries versus the Colts, but he's gotten a pretty good amount of red zone work here for the Jaguars. I actually think he would probably be the better play. But I'm going to pass on ETN. Not because it's not going to... I do like it a lot. It's just... It's way too juiced there. If we go Novik minus 163, too much juice on a touchdown prop. Not bad, but we're going to pass on it. All right, let's go ahead and go back up here. We scroll back up. So we're going to pass on ETN for now. At least maybe we'll go back to it. We'll pass on ETN. Let's see. Nico Collins, AJ Brown, Kyle Monangai, Mark Andrews, AJ Brown, JSN, McCaffrey, ETN, Gibbs, Saquon. You guys are kind of, Nico Collins, Monangai. A lot of people like Monangai today. McMillan, McCaffrey, Gibbs, ETN, Rashee Rice, Saquon, James Cook, Saquon. I see a lot of Saquon, a lot of Derrick Henry, JSN, James Cook. Let's see, Seahawks defense. A lot of Seahawks defensive touchdown. Dallas Goedert. You guys really want Seahawks defense, huh? Can I even bet Seahawks defense on here? I guess it was in its own category, defensive touchdowns. I don't see it on here, so gonna pass on Seahawks defense, but I get where you're going from there. Unless there's got to be something, right? Touchdowns for defense. Fumble, interceptions, defense, kicking points, last touchdown score. Touchdowns. I don't see anything for the defensive touchdowns, so we're gonna have to pass. Although I like your heads at with Seahawks defense. I don't. Okay. Saquon. I saw a lot of Saquon, and I know he had a touchdown versus the Chargers last week. He has not been as potent this year with touchdowns, but this Raiders defense 26th in touchdowns allowed to the running back position. He obviously, in terms of rushing attempts, number one by far in red zone carries. Besides Jalen Hurts, who does steal some from him, it is a very good spot here. And he also gets work in the passing game too, so he does get the ball thrown a little bit his way as well. We have seen running backs have some success against the Raiders. I'll go ahead and plug this one in. So we're going to take Saquon because a lot of people suggested it. So we have two legs right now on. Let's see, best odds available would be DraftKings. It looks like, although Novig, not PrizePicks, Novig I think might be the best. Where's Novig? Novig's not showing their odds, but DraftKings 257. So that's so far. We need one more. Whoa, tomato. You can't tomato Jackson Smith and Saquon Barkley. Those are pretty good players and pretty good bets in their matchups to score touchdowns. The Raiders and the Colts, neither are elite in terms of stopping those positions. So, yeah, but we don't know if Devontae's not. If Adams isn't playing, then Kobe Parker said we don't know if Devontae's not playing. Which thanks for the reminder, by the way, because I have him in my fantasy lineup, so I got to make sure I go ahead and adjust that. Some people are saying Devontae Smith. A couple people saying Devontae Smith. Dart anytime. Ronnie, you just want to build a quarterback anytime touchdown prop. You were the one who recommended Josh Allen too, didn't you? You just really want a quarterback touchdown prop parlay, which I respect a lot. But you also said Devontae Smith too, so not just quarterbacks. Chase Brown, Mark Andrews. A-Chain, we just got to wait till Monday if we do A-Chain. A-Chain's not a bad one, but you just got to wait forever for that. Let's see. McCaffrey, maybe? It's going to be too juiced. I can already tell you that right now. It's going to be way too juiced for McCaffrey. Too many Christians. All right, Christian McCaffrey. Anytime touchdown. Yeah, way too juiced. Way too juiced. Okay. Let's finish up strong. We need one more. Give me one more right now. Give me one more. Come on. Jacoby Myers against the Jets. For that, I might as well just go ETN if I'm being honest. Because ETN is going to score. Although the Jets do... Oh, no. Do we just go ETN? Oh, gotcha. I thought you were saying tomato at us, like throwing tomatoes at us. Like, whoa. Like, I think JSN and Saquon are pretty good spots. Gotcha. All right, that makes a little bit more sense, and I appreciate the clarification. I think we just go ETN maybe because I know a lot of people were saying ETN. And I see some people saying Puka. Look at Lamar. All right, I'll look at Lamar. But I don't. The quarterback touchdowns are just way too more. No, the data's not good. I mean, the Bengals, the data's not good. Although Derrick Henry, we talked about earlier. Derrick Henry's not a bad one. It's all about value there. And again, like ETN, it's just too juiced. Minus 175, it's just not worth it. If he doesn't score, it really looks bad on us. So Josh Jacobs against the Broncos. The Broncos are really good. I mean, ETN is a really good one. ETN's really good. And it is juiced, but he's definitely going to score. I see a lot of people saying Jacobs. But you guys realize the Broncos are a really good defensive team, right? Henry or ETN. It's between those two, I think. But the problem is both of them are juiced. So you got to pick which one, ETN or Henry. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds. Can I put a poll in here? Is that possible? Is it possible for me to put a poll in these things? I don't know. I'm still new to the live stream thing. I don't think I can put a poll in here. Yeah, I don't think I can put a poll, but I think it's between those two. It's either between Henry or it's between ETN. I think I'm just going to go with Derrick Henry. Because I do like Derrick Henry a lot here, although, yeah. I see. People keep saying Jacobs. I mean, I see it, but you realize Denver, really good defense. They give the fewest touchdowns in the league and very low to running back. So I don't like that one, personally. I don't know how to do a poll, unfortunately. Screw it. We're doing ETN. Levitate, you said it. Lock it in. We're doing ETN. Although, we didn't look at Javonte. The Vikings against running backs. Oh, they actually don't give a lot. They give a lot of yards, not touchdowns, I guess. Yeah, we'll go ETN. I liked ETN. It was a value thing for me, but I think it's worth it. So ETN. So if we do that, 3 legs plus 461 on DraftKings, Jackson Smith, Saquon, and Travis Etienne. And if you do FanDuel plus 449, Novig, just for shits and giggles, just to see what they look like on Novig, those 3 legs combined plus 478. I think that's good. That's pretty good value for those 3 guys. Whoa, Drewski. We did talk about the Dallas game a little bit, and I have a video coming out at 12 o'clock. So shout out Cowboys Vikings. Make sure watch that video, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be dropping here on the channel. Guys, that is it for me. Let me just see what's George Pickens terrible from last week. He's going to bounce back. I mean, I think we looked at Pickens earlier, but yeah, I will be at 12 p.m. Eastern time. I will have my video for Cowboys Vikings Sunday Football. I'll be giving plays, props for that game individually. So make sure to subscribe. Again, check out the Oracle. That video is already out, but that is it. So it's our 3-leg parlay confirmed. We have Travis Etienne, anytime touchdown. We have Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown, and Jackson Smith and the Jigba, anytime touchdown. You parlay all 3 together. Again, plus 461 looks like DraftKings probably the one people will look at the most. So that's it, guys. That is our live stream. We have been live now for 1 hour and 40. We've talked a lot of player props today, and I really do appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream. Again, all the final plays will be posted on our website, GuyBostonSports.com, as well as in the description for the live stream here. So make sure to check that out. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully next week I'll be back. The next couple of weeks will be a little bit difficult. I'm going to be, I'm trying to say here. Next Sunday, my girlfriend's family, we do Christmas with them. So, because they work on Christmas. So I don't think next Sunday I'll be back. The following Sunday after that, I'm going to be at the Patriots-Jets game in MetLife. So the next couple weeks will be tough. I think the weekend of Christmas, I think we're going to go live Friday morning as opposed to Sunday. And we'll do NFL Player Props live probably the day after Christmas. That's my plan because I do want to do these live streams. I don't want to miss on them. So the week of Christmas, plan for that to be the day after Christmas. We'll do a little morning live stream because I believe I'm not going to be working that day. And then next week, we'll try and figure something out, whether it be a Saturday morning special kind of thing, or if I can kind of sneak it in on Sunday. We'll do the best we can. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe, like, comment, all that great stuff. We will be back hopefully next week. But until next time, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy a great day of NFL football. And again, make sure to check out all the content on the channel right now. We have a ton of great stuff and still stuff to come later today. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you very much. Have a good one.